election was the one in Bondo. But in Bondo constituency had three major clans. Sakwa, where Jaramogi came from, Uyoma, where Odede came from, and Asembo, where Oneko came from, but now he went to Nakuru. Mm-hmm. But Asembo and Uyoma are brothers. Mm-hmm. So they ganged up against Sakwa. So Jaramogi was going to lose that election. Mm-hmm. Sorry, there are some names I would not want to mention in that story because they are still alive. But then, Jaramogi had a chief campaigner called Mito. Mm-hmm. Mito was from Asembo, Jaramogi from Sakwa, Odede from Uyoma. When the election was nearing, it was clear Jaramogi was going to lose.
They could tell then?
Yes. So one day, you know, in politics in the village, after people have come from the campaign rallies, you escort the candidate until his home. Mm-hmm. You leave him in the safety of his home and go back to your various homes. Mm-hmm. So after Mito had seen Jaramogi off to his home, he was now going back to their Asembo. In Asembo, Odede had a posho mill somewhere. Near Odede's posho mill, Mito was murdered. You are still on the story?
I'm following.
So when Mito was murdered, the next day, word came out that Odede has murdered Mito. They start by saying, Jaramogi's chief campaigner has been murdered. Automatically, you think, it can't be Jaramogi, it has to be the opponent. And then they add another salt to it, and it was done near Odede's posho mill. Then the third propagandist comes to say, in fact, they switched on the posho mill and it was sounding very loud. Nobody could hear Mito screaming. Mm-hmm. Then the third one come and say, if that is what Odede can do, we are all now going to vote for Jaramogi, we people of Asembo. And that is how Jaramogi was voted for. Years come by, it turned out that the killing of Mito did not come from Odede, it came from the Jaramogi axis.
So now, first of all, Odede did not defend himself.
How would you, in a vast constituency, like from Uyoma, Sakwa, Asembo, how loud will you be to be heard? And even if you say, I did not do it, who will believe you? Who would believe you? Because the society we live in, the hoi polloi you see here in the street, is a very lazy thinker. He uses the nearest logic you place before him. The nearest logic is, and by the way, I didn't also tell you, that this Mito man was also a relative of Jaramogi. Close relative.
Let's entertain a hypothesis here, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I have a friend
yes,
who's running for office. Mm-hmm. Let me just, for purposes of credits, is Bobasi One. Mm-hmm. Otieno Mokaya. Mm-hmm. He's an advocate, he's a hopeful. But we've had very deep moral conversations. Mm. And we have an agreement. This submission has two levels. One, we have a submission that politics is dirty, but when it comes to taking a life, that's where you draw the line. Is this something you tell yourself before you get into the system? Or the system is such that that is unnecessary evil?
Politics is that when you are getting into it, you don't think a situation like that will arise when you are in that contest. Sometimes you go very innocent, but your opponents put you into that, or is the one that executes that on you. So you think it is safe. Just like getting into a marriage, it feels good. But somewhere along the way, right inside, even death may occur. Yes, so things like that do happen. And there are many such stories. I have collected very many stories. And I think very recently in the 90s, there was one person in Homa Bay who lost 5 buses. 5 buses because he was perceived to be a KANU man. 5 buses on one day, all set ablaze.
Because of
And there was a councillor in Homa Bay called Akechieng. You must have heard his name recently. They burnt his hardware together with a lorry because he was KANU. There was a former assistant minister called Owegolang. You've seen the daughter, is called Sheila, moving around. They took his new Land Rover and pushed it into the lake, and it went below the lake until today because he was KANU. That is how dirty politics can be. And you see, ordinarily you would expect the people to reject the person who is suspected to be doing that. Number one, some of these things happen, people never even get to attribute them to the people who are the masterminds. Never. Or if there are any, they are very few. And you see, the fear that such a thing creates, nobody else attempts to oppose this man who has done that. And the people may not know he's the one who has done it.
My first impression of politics being a different world came from, we were having a conversation with the Kapseret MP, Oscar Sudi, and the Bahati MP, Kimani Ngunjiri. And we were focusing on business. And we had a conversation, that was when I was at NTV. We had a conversation, and Oscar Sudi has neat business nuggets. Like, he told us his story from scratch. Then Mali kupanga kazi na town, he told us all that. And then I asked a political question. And then he turned. Akasema, sasa wewe umeleta siasa, unataka tuingie kwa siasa. Sasa tuende hiyo. So, and the way he said it was like we were in another world.
You are taking us to another world.
You want us to go to another world.
Umeleta visa.
Bas, akasema tuende bas. That was my first impression of, by the way, we were in different gears. Let us switch gears now. So there is a zone you get to that you are not an ordinary human being now.